The Sandy and Toddcast is a Mindgarden media podcast in association with
Screw You, Todd
Productions. Another week, another Sandy and Toddcast.
Boy, did we have a lot of fun the other night, Todd, during our live cast, and we're going to share it with everybody here today.
I don't know if it was just because we haven't done one for a while, or if it was because of the guest we had, or if it was because we were both so tired, but it was crazy.
I think crazy is a good word for it. I think it was a combination of all three. I think we're just kind of giddy and happy to be back together in a live cast and just have a lot of fun with it. So everybody's in for a treat today.
Absolutely. Season 4, Episode 13, I Do Declare. It's Miss Hale. It's next on the Sandy and Toddcast.
Hey everyone, it's Eron, and I want to share with you a glimpse into my podcast, The Witching Hour with Eron Mazza. Join me as I welcome fascinating and informative guests with each episode. We'll dive into all topics witchy, spiritual, and just plain different. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, and anywhere you listen to your podcasts. The Witching Hour with Eron Mazza is a Mindgarden media production.
Broadcasting from two very different yet magical places not found on any map. Get ready to discuss the strange, weird, ghostly, crazy, spooky, and odd things that take place around us each and every day. All while having a little bit of fun. This is the Sandy and Toddcast.
Welcome to the Sandy and Toddcast. She is Sandy.
He is Todd.
And we are here to get us into a conversation that we had earlier this week with Miss Lisa Hale, one of our friends. But this is kind of interesting because we had the live cast. And then what we did was we waited and had a separate conversation with her just for this podcast. So even if you saw the live cast, there's fresh stuff here.
Yeah, which is kind of neat. And it's an idea that we sort of came up with out of the blue, and now we kind of like it. So we may be doing more stuff like this in the future, especially on our YouTube page. A lot of people don't even realize we have a YouTube page. So we're going to be kicking that up a notch as well in the future and doing some really interesting stuff that you might not get on the audio cast or you might not get in the live cast. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And one thing about YouTube I got to tell you is that the quality of the video is very, very good. Like Facebook does a nice job, but and we do our live casts on YouTube, we do them on Twitter. So if you're a Facebook user, but you've got a YouTube account as well, you should definitely follow and like us over there as well, because a lot of our content in the future, we're going to start kind of migrating some stuff over there. So
yeah, and subscribe. That's all I have to say. I have a handful. Well, more than a handful of people that I follow on YouTube, and you can find anything in the world on YouTube.
Yeah.
And not that this is a paid advertisement for YouTube, but I really like YouTube. I'm starting to get into it more and more, and I think that's why we're thinking of kind of maybe migrating a few things here and there over there. So bonus content, fun content that you don't always get. You get to see our gorgeous faces all the time on YouTube.
That's a turn off.
It's just a lot of fun.
That's a reason not to go to YouTube. But
I know, right? Well, you, not me.
Oh,
anyway.
Nice. So we had a very long discussion with her. We had a lot to talk about. We might as well get right into it. What do you say?
Let's do it. This was a lot of fun. I don't think I've laughed this hard in a long, long time.
I know I haven't. Season 4, Episode 13, I Do Declare. It's Miss Hale. It's on the Sandy and Toddcast.
Hi.
I was going to see if you were going to actually
I was about to do it. I was like, there's too much delay.
I know. All right. Hello, everybody.
Look at this. We've got the guest out right away tonight.
I know. I think that's what threw me off, too, was I didn't expect Lisa to be out right away. I'm so glad you are, though.
Oh, she's so out. So
I've been out for years.
Welcome to the Sandy and Toddcast live cast on the 7th of April. Our guest tonight is the one and only Lisa Hale Kennedy Smith Hale. What are all the last names? Let's just get them out there.
Hold on. Okay, if we're going to go back to the beginning, it would be Lisa Hale, Rice Hale, Kennedy Hale, Lip Hale, Wild.
But you don't have the wild name.
But I didn't take the wild name, no. And I didn't take the lip name, so.
Yeah. So there you go. Our good friend Lisa Hale with several marriages and all of them.
I'm on number 4.
And we don't know why. I mean, we can't figure out what could possibly be the issue with Lisa Hale. But, you know. So welcome to the podcast.
Yo, I just had to find somebody weird enough to go along with my weirdness.
There you go.
Wasn't, you know.
There you go. Justin's joining us tonight.
Oh my gosh, he can actually join us because he's not in Facebook jail.
Well,
must be one of the first times in a while.
Let me tell you, Justin has been pushing it big time.
I know.
Big time. And I'm loving every single post he makes. So just keep going, Justin. We'll go for the record this time. Maybe stay out for a week.
The Liz Taylor. The Liz Taylor of East Central Wisconsin is what Jason Mansmith says. It's so funny.
Jason.
I was going to contact Jason earlier today, and I didn't because I wanted to see if maybe he had some old Lisa audio laying around that I could use, you know?
Oh.
So
I wish he had this because it was so much fun. When we did that morning show together, it was like just two people who had known each other forever and ever and just had this natural chemistry. And we would be talking about stuff and I would let stuff slip that just, you know, me.
Shouldn't be slipped.
It shouldn't be said on the radio, you know, like, ooh, I love foreplay. Just
Well, it could be said on radio, but not in the town that you were working at, you know? Hi, guys. Hi, everybody checking in tonight. Boy, it's really nice to see everybody.
Everybody's in here tonight. That's so nice. We haven't been able to do these a lot. Yeah, we haven't been able to do these much. So it's nice to finally be back. And I'm so glad you're back with us, Lisa. I love you.
I love you too.
Tonight we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Yeah, whatever. Keep it up, you two. Because remember, I have buttons.
My vagina, my boobs.
And I will use them. So, hi, Sudi. Thanks for being in tonight.
Hey, Sudi.
I have to share a quick story about Sudi.
Okay.
Because Sudi and I met probably back in 2006. Online, basically working for the same company. I was working up here and she was working down in Georgia for the same company that I currently work for. And so we met one time, I think only once, maybe twice. And she was not surprised at all that I was there. And she was not at all pleased that I showed up the way I showed up because it was kind of like trickery. I didn't tell her I was coming down and then all of a sudden I showed up. Yeah. And it was like, oh, hello, Todd Michaels or something like that is what she said. But we now are coworkers again all these years later.
Yay!
She is the assistant to the CEO of the company now.
That's exciting.
And yeah, she is. She's KJ's assistant now.
Wow. Very
and
good,
I mean, I'm excited about that. So
congrats, Sudi.
Congrats to her. It'll be great working with her. We've already chatted a couple of times, but I'll say one thing that I was very surprised by. I was very surprised that she
can still put up with KJ.
No. Oh, yeah. No, actually, what I was surprised by was she didn't reach out to me and say, "Hey, what do you think? This is what's going on. Do you think I should make the leap?" Or I didn't know. I was the last person to know about it.
Wow.
They're like, did you know
that
we're talking to Sudi? I'm like, no, I didn't know. So thanks. What upset me.
We love you, Sudi.
Yeah, very happy for her. So
yes,
I'll get to see and talk to her more often. And
it's good.
I think back in the day, she and I kept each other sane a lot of the time. And so I'm kind of hoping that will continue, even though she is the assistant to the CEO. You know, I just...
Does that make her the assistant CEO?
What's that?
Does that make her the assistant CEO?
I think she's just the assistant to the CEO.
I think that makes her the assistant.
I would think so.
CEO.
My vagina, my boobs.
I don't know how you do that exactly, but at any rate, welcome to the live cast tonight. Sandy, it's never going to go away.
Never.
I have got that on every page of my hotkeys has it down in the lower right hand corner.
He even sent me a video the other day of the button of the button on his computer. I'm like, thanks.
And it really says on there, my vagina, my boobs.
My vagina, my
That's
boob.
what it's named. So, it's something I didn't get tonight, which I'm really upset about, was beforehand we're talking, and she lets out this belch while she's talking. So
it wasn't a huge belch.
It was good enough.
I just had some soda.
It was good enough. It was one of these. It was like, and so I was thinking,
Yeah, but you should be honored that I feel that comfortable around you.
Absolutely. I mean, nothing feels better than when a chick just belches right in your face. I mean,
or in your mic.
Yeah, Lisa's a belcher. Lisa's a belcher.
I am.
It is what it is. I don't do it like in public, but it is what it is.
When I was young.
When I was young.
When I was
a youngin'.
Years ago, my mother had fits with me because she wanted me to be a lady.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know me. That ain't happening, right? So
you have your bits and pieces that are sometimes ladylike.
Sometimes, but when it comes to sneezing, belching, and farting, no. So she had a stroke when she was 52 that was very debilitating, but it also changed her personality. So where she was really just, how do I put this? She walked with a corn cob. I mean, she was just staunch and tight and had no sense of humor. But then after her stroke,
where she could let him fly too.
She would look at me whenever I would burp, and she would say, 7, not good. And I would be, well, okay, I'll try to do better next time. And I would really belch. Much better. That daughter. So
that's great. They say when you have a stroke, a lot of times, my grandfather was the same way. It sort of, your whole decision-making process and the way your mind works just kind of sometimes flips around a little bit, changes.
I think she also
your
probably
filter.
realized that, this chick ain't never gonna. I'm never gonna be my sister. That's for certain.
Took her that long. I knew the moment I met you. There wasn't going to be anything dainty about you.
When you met me, I was limping down the hall.
First time I met her, and I know we've said this story before, but first time I met her, I was doing a weekend shift on one of the stations, and she was as well. She was across the hall. And here she was cross-stitching while on the air. She'd be cross-stitching, and then she'd have to do a break, so she'd stop and do her break, and then she'd start cross-stitching. I'm thinking, this person's not paying attention. What the hell? And so then she come walking down the hall, except it wasn't walking, it was limping. She sounded like a peg leg pirate coming down, the radio pirate. So,
oh God. Hi, Ed. Hi, Jay.
We have Lisa Hale on tonight, and the reason why we have Lisa Hale on tonight, 2 reasons. Number 1, because right after this live cast, we're going to record our podcast for this Sunday. You will get some of the audio from tonight's live cast, but you're also going to get exclusive audio where Lisa and Sandy talk about their love for serial killers.
Yes. Our
and
love.
Why they're into it.
It is a love.
I mean, Sandy, I've never met anybody who's so into Dahmer as you.
Dahmer?
Or not Dahmer. I mean Ed Gein.
I was going to say.
Oh my God. Very much into Ed Gein. Very much into the whole thing.
Would you have dated him?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'm not into him because of that. I didn't think
I don't know.
attractive.
I mean, I'm not judging you.
The psychology of it fascinates me. It just totally fascinates me. The whole psychology thing. Plus I was there. I was there and the stuff I experienced. It just, I like Ed Gein, the whole thing that went on there. I don't like it, but I like it. I want to learn as much as I can about it.
Yeah. And Lisa, you got that sickness too.
Oh yeah, I do.
It's true.
I always have had, and I will research a serial killer until I know absolutely everything I can possibly know about him. And poor Dave back there who's working will be watching a documentary and I'll go, actually, that's wrong. It was in such and such. And I'll go get my books out and show him.
Yep. So. Is it for you, Lisa? Is it for you psychology, like the psychological aspect, like what makes them do it? What they think?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is for me too. So there.
That's one way to look at it.
I think she also probably deep down thinks it would be cool if she were able to pull off what some of these people had done as far as getting away with it for as long as they got away with it for and how they got away with it.
And how they got away with it. And
yeah, that's fascinating.
Why they got away with it. I mean, when you think about, well, I mean, we're not going to get into this too much, but I could talk about Ted Bundy until I'm blue in the face.
Yeah.
I could talk about Gwendolyn Graham and Kathy Wood are two that I've studied beyond what I should have. And Otis Toole and Henry Lee Lucas. I know all about them. So
creepy ones.
Well, Otis Toole and Henry Lee Lucas, I think, took a little bit too much credit for stuff they weren't involved in. But
I think so too. I agree with you on that one.
Interesting that you have some sort of theory on that. I think that's kind of interesting.
Well, I have we'll save this for the show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but we'll be talking about that. And so you do have a theory on them?
On Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole? Yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't heard of them until I watched a show. I can't remember if it was Netflix, what it was, but I was just enthralled by the whole thing. It was like a documentary on the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I was just enthralled by it. So I'd be interested in hearing what you think too.
We'll talk.
We the other reason we want Lisa on is because Lisa, over the last couple of years, Lisa and I started a podcast back in 2010.
Radiotherapy.
And it was called Radiotherapy. And what we did was we had a lot of our friends who had things that they were passionate about. It could be organization. It could be passionate about politics. It could be passionate about who knows what. Mm-hmm. And animals. And they would do these little vignettes for us about their weekly passion, what they were working on, what they were doing. And that was part of our podcast. And the rest of it was just her and I bullshitting and making fun of one another. Me mainly making fun of her.
Yeah.
Because she really didn't do much for the podcast. She'd show up every week and go, I'm here. And that's about it.
I'm here. I'm gorgeous.
Half the time she was late. But at any rate, that's kind of what that podcast was. It evolved into another podcast, which was called Radiotherapy 2.0,
right?
Which only lasted a short period of time.
Right.
And you know what? This is weird.
Tough.
This was weird. Both podcasts, the first podcast kind of fell apart because my mom got really, really sick. It was in the hospital for like a month. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And then the second one kind of fell apart because my mom passed away. Mm-hmm. So I think my mom didn't want us doing podcasts because we'd probably talk too much about her.
We did talk about your mom a little bit.
We did. And Sudi was part of that group too. Remember, she was part of Radiotherapy.
Yes, she was.
She is a great writer, storyteller.
Oh, she really the best.
Oh, yeah. And she would give us some wonderful things. And I do have to say, even though he's not watching right now because he's horrible and he doesn't love me, my brother was also kind of a part of that because without the Indonesian love, what would we have done?
he married a girl from Indonesia is basically what happened. And so we would make fun of them on the podcast too. But we were podcasting before people were podcasting.
We were.
Imagine if we would have kept up with it, we probably would be making money. And
I was going to make that point because back then, I mean, podcasting is actually, they put out reports every year. And the report from last year said that podcasting overall is more popular today than radio.
I believe that.
I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys, you really came in, you were like the pioneer kind of wave of podcasting. because I think the last maybe 3 or 4 years, give or take, really set it in motion. But you guys were like the pioneers of podcasting.
We experimented with a lot of different things in radiotherapy and in Radiotherapy 2.0. And we found things that worked for us and things that didn't work for us. And, the friendship really.
Well, that works. When your friend, when you ask her as the first episode is you calling her, asking her on the phone if she'll do a podcast with you. That's pretty special. The other thing is when you're waiting to do a podcast with her and she sends a picture of her feet and the floor and there's a roll of toilet paper sitting on the floor because what she's doing is pooping, then you've got something special. Remember you did that, Lisa?
I don't remember because all of a sudden I started swirling and I didn't hear what you just said.
That's too bad. What I said was, you remember the time you sent me a picture of your 2 feet and the floor and there's a roll of toilet paper sitting over in the corner? And you said, guess what I'm doing? I knew you weren't making lasagna. You know what I'm saying?
I still will send that picture occasionally.
Oh, God, that's hilarious.
So getting back to why we've got Lisa on tonight is she is joining the Mindgarden Media family as well.
Yay,
She's been doing for the last couple of years a podcast called Auntie Lisa's Life Lessons.
Right.
And is it primarily right now on video?
Right now,
YouTube?
it's primarily on YouTube. I had one season that was available both audio and video, and then of course school got nuts because I'm trying to jam in, get done, and so it took a back seat. But then I started it back up again, and I've been doing it. It's on YouTube, Auntie Lisa's Life Lessons, and I'm going to branch out into the audio side now.
I love it.
Excellent. So we're going to help her do that, and she'll become another member of Mindgarden Media. She's going to be my personal project.
Oh, so dear goodness.
Like Sandy works with some of our other podcasters primarily. I will be working with Lisa to make sure Lisa's.
Good luck, Lisa.
Yeah. Good luck, Todd. And the first topic on our podcast will be
my vagina, my boob,
and then we'll go from there. So
you can just see that. Hello, lovies. It's your Auntie Lisa. This is something we're going to talk about today. My vagina, my boob.
And my boobs.
Well, let's talk about what Auntie Lisa's Life Lessons really is about.
It's about anything that I think. Okay, I'm everybody's Auntie Lisa. Everybody knows me as Auntie Lisa.
The crazy Auntie Lisa.
But the cool aunt, the one that you can go to when you want to talk about, sex that you can't talk to your mom about. I was that aunt. You needed to buy something at the store that you didn't want your mom to know about. I was that aunt. Sorry, Jacob, I don't mean to be telling off on you. But things like that.
Jacob, she told me everything.
I did.
You nasty little son of a bitch.
Oh, dear Lord.
But oh God, Jason. We talk.
Thanks, Jay.
Jason, if you need a clean copy of that, I'll email it to you.
I can just see it now, like when we come out in June, like we'll all get together and Jason will walk in playing it.
Shit, not just Jason. Everybody's phone will go off while we're out, and it'll all be that.
Everybody's
we'll start texting each other a text.
We should actually post it online so people could download it off of our Facebook page.
I wonder if we could make some money off of my vagina.
I'll give it away for free. It makes me so happy. We'll just give it away. Her vagina and boobs are free, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God. Totally out of every kind of context that you could think of, but that's okay.
So anyway. Yes, you're everybody's Auntie Lisa.
Everybody's the non-judgmental aunt, the friend that you can talk to.
Do not send it to Damon. Do not send that to Damon, whatever you do.
You can talk to about anything. So I learn lessons, and then I share those lessons so that my lovies, which is what I call my group of people, my nieces and nephews, but lovies is more inclusive. So my lovies, I'll share my lessons with them and tell them not to do what I've done, basically.
Yes, it's kind of like see this? Don't do this.
Well, I will say this. I have listened to Auntie Lisa's life lessons for a while now, and I love it.
Well, thank you.
Love it. And you recently did one about sort of depression.
About the darkness, yep.
The darkness. And I appreciate that so much because a lot of people don't talk about it. And a lot of people experience it. And
that's one of the things about me. I can be silly and funny and strange and wonderful, like Todd will say, and just weird. But then again, I can also be very serious.
Bitch.
No, stop.
I can be a raging bitch.
Oh,
you should see when it happens. You think Julia Sugarbaker had something going, honey. Mm-mm. But anyway. So
I love that it was very honest and from your heart. And you're very genuine. And I really, truly love that because you are who you are.
That's one of the things. I can't be anybody but Lisa. I can't.
And listen, I have tried to change that. I have worked very hard over the past 20 years to make her not Lisa Hale, and it just doesn't work.
He has tried so hard.
We've gotten close on a couple of things. I tried to come up with a bunch of pictures of you over the years. I just didn't have time to put them all together. But I was going to show a little slideshow of Lisa back then, Lisa at this point in her life, Lisa now,
Let me tell you, the photos he has of my T-shirt collection over the years.
She will get any T-shirt for free and just wear it. I mean, we all do that. We wear T-shirts at home and stuff when we're cleaning.
All of my
shirts. It doesn't matter. You still don't go out in public in that kind of stuff. That's the issue.
All of my shirts were free. You know you're in radio when all of your wardrobe is radio station T-shirts, charity event T-shirts.
Yeah. Oh my God. I have so many charity event T-shirts. It's ridiculous.
And you'll clean your workspace for pizza. That's how you know you're in radio. Because there's always that one day out of the year where the boss goes, okay, I'm bringing pizza, but you guys got to clean this place up.
So we're looking forward to that. Not sure exactly when that'll all kick off and everything, but we'll work together and get that going so that she's on a lot of the same platforms we're on right now and can distribute it, not just video, but also audio and all that kind of stuff. So
we'll have to work on timing too. You'll have to let me know when you want me to schedule it and stuff like that. Cause I don't want the video to go live before the audio or anything like that.
We'll work that all out. We'll work that all out. And we've got great resource up there in the corner because she does a fantastic job with everybody she works with.
Thank you.
I mean, she's Lisa, great. you're of the two sticks at the top of this screen, you're getting the shorter stick.
Well, I may be getting the shorter stick, but that short stick has known me longer. So has also got more, how shall I say?
Oh, I have the ability to say Yeah.
You will say, Lisa, this sucked. Go do it again. And I will go and do it again.
Speaking of which, that copy you cut for us this week, we need it redone.
Which one?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, he's kidding. He's kidding.
It's actually very good.
It was excellent. It was excellent.
I didn't know if you were talking about the political one or the other one. I was like, if it's the political one, I'll redo it. If it's the other one.
No. It's our brand new Mindgarden Media promo, and Lisa was kind enough to voice it for us, and it sounded great. And I love that music that it's with, and I was really hoping that they'd go well together, and they sound perfect. So kick ass. So
where is that? I know I've got it someplace.
Should.
Let me pull it up real quick. I'd like to play it real quick.
So you can check it out in our group, Stay Weirdos group. I posted along with our Mindgarden Media page. You can find it there as well.
I think I've got the audio. As Sandy would say, I think I've got the audio Oh shoot! I was gonna belch, but it didn't come through.
I didn't drink enough Diet Coke tonight in order to belch for you, or I would have.
I thought you had one of mine. No, maybe you don't have one of mine.
What are you talking about?
I thought you had one of my
boob?
No, he's got all kinds of stupid stuff that I say. I thought you had a belch from me, but maybe you don't.
Probably lost it. I can't, for whatever reason, my mind is just blank tonight and I'm not finding it anywhere, but be on the lookout. And of course, when Lisa's stuff comes out, we will promote it on our site and also in the group page and all that kind of stuff. Because this really is a family of people who are trying to share and communicate and bring discussions together. And so we're all gonna, that's what this is all about. This is all of us working to make each of us better.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's really important because, and I think that's kind of what Mindgarden is a group of people that kind of become some of us already are, and some of us become a family. And so we sort of bring you into that. And that's why, podcasting and doing what I do for a living, sort of my passion. And so I want to help people and I want to walk you through every step from the very thought, should I do a podcast? I don't know if I should do a podcast. Do I have anything to talk about? All the way up through the finished product. And it's important.
You always have things to talk about, whether you know you have things to talk about or not.
That's right.
Ideas for ALL. So, it constantly grows.
Yes.
Yes, it's another list, Todd.
I wasn't going to go there because I've talked about your lists on every podcast I've ever done. They are epic lists. There are lists of lists.
There is.
So there's a master list of the other lists, and then there's another list. Now, here's the thing. When she has a list and she starts crossing stuff off, you can't do that.
Oh.
Once it's crossed off, you have to make a new list with that item taken off.
Is that how you do it?
I do have OCD. And when I'm not on my meds.
Would you now look at the room behind her? Would you guess that the woman has OCD by any means? No.
You wouldn't.
No. This is knowing that she has OCD is kind of a surprise.
But when I'm not on my meds, it's bad. And I cannot have a list that that has a strike through. It has to be rewritten.
I gotcha.
Because it has a strike. They're too messy. If you strike through stuff, it's too messy. Good God. It needs to be rewritten. So, oopsie.
Yeah. So we'll be looking forward to that. So she'll be coming on. And we've got some other people that we're talking to as well. So our family may be growing by leaps and bounds very, very, very soon.
And that is awesome.
Yeah. It's really exciting to be able to do this. We started out, we're heading into season 5 of the Sandy and Toddcast in June.
Now, how do you guys determine when to start a season and stop a season?
Well,
I think we just determined we were going to do 16 episodes per season, and that was it, right?
Yeah.
Is that it?
So Eron Mazza from The Witching Hour with Eron Mazza, he's a Mindgarden. They're a Mindgarden client, and they decided to do 12. So they do 12 episodes a season. I think it's just a personal thing. I've seen some of the podcasts that I handle, they do 25, or they call it a season when they've done, if they do a weekly podcast, they call it a season when they've done 1 year's worth. It all depends on your personal preferences, which is cool because everybody's a little bit different.
I think for us, what it allows us to do is we kind of look at the end of a season as, number one, a break, but also a time for us to go, okay, what did we like about the first 3 seasons? What do we want to keep? What do we want to try? And that becomes part of the next season. So season 3 was very heavy on live casts. And we spent less time on the audio portion. And both Sandy and I at the end of that season said, you know what I miss? I miss the audio cast. Yeah. And so this season, we've really focused on that. The other thing was season 3 was very heavily based on guests, and season 4 is less guests.
Yeah.
So
more us.
Yeah, more us. Because guess what? Us is good.
Everybody loves
it.
Us.
Yeah. So, I mean, we took that into consideration. And to be honest, of all the seasons we've done, this one for me has been the most enjoyable. Now we've got more ideas for season 5, so it's going to be different than season 4. But for us, that's why we made the seasons a certain length of time, gave us a chance to reevaluate, gave us a chance to make some changes. And, you know, if you ever get to the point where you're like, this isn't working anymore, it gives you a breaking point to go, let's go do something else.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. It gives you a chance to catch your breath. I like that. Now, this season, I think we decided we're going to do 3 weeks off in between seasons.
4 weeks, really, I think.
Is it 4 weeks?
Because it's 3. We're going to have specials those 3 weeks.
Right.
And then we'll have 1 week actually off, and then we'll be back.
Right. And we're going to do just some content, extra content.
That's the other thing that's really cool. And I have to give Sandy a ton of credit tonight because number one, I talked to Eron into doing a podcast. And I got frustrated with them and said, Sandy, here.
I'm the winner.
And Eron has an outstanding podcast.
Oh my gosh. It's
very
fantastic.
Good. Sandy and the Apps crew have put together a great podcast. The Alchemy podcast is great. And a lot of that is because really Sandy's been able to work with them and coach them on sound and all that kind of stuff. So she's just done a great job with the folks that she's working with. And now I'm going to take Lisa and we're just going to bomb the shit out of her podcast. It's going to go right downhill. And in about 4 weeks, she's going to just, you know, she'll end the affiliation with Mindgarden and there'll be a lawsuit involved. And
just remember who does your books, okay?
Here's the thing, just so you know, Sandy, she's going to do our books for us for free, okay? So that's her payment for us.
I'm dying right now.
So,
oh, thank God.
Yeah. So, but I just want to say Sandy does a really great job. And, you know, I do a little bit of editing on the podcast, but she always makes sure that it's up and it's set and it's got all the stuff it needs to have and all the hashtags and all the freaking notes and all that and sends it off. She's outstanding. She understands that. That's what she does. So Mindgarden, whatever, you're getting Sandy is what you're getting when you decide that you want to work with us on podcasts. You're getting the experience of being able to create. I'm a great creator. I'm a great thinker about what works and what won't work. But when it comes down to the workhorse, she just understands all that. I have no fucking clue.
I love doing that.
And then basically what I'm good at is, you know,
my vagina, my boob,
just doing stuff like that. Or
listen, it's a good show. You don't know what a good show is. So screw you, Todd.
I have everything. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at taking something and beating the hell out of it.
And just think that's our actual identity for my Screw You Todd Productions.
Well, and that was my idea. I'm like, why don't we just call it Screw You Todd Productions? Oh, that's great.
But you know what? You have great ideas. And that's what is so wonderful about the stuff that you do on your end, though, is you come up with some great ideas. You really do come up with some great ideas.
One of the things about Todd is that when you're working for him, you're working with him. Yeah. And when you're working with him, you're really working with him. He's a good manager and a really good leader, even though he doesn't think of himself that way. And that's what makes him an even better leader and manager. So,
no, you're 100% right. They'll deny
Team Todd all the way. Team Todd.
Always Team Todd.
Right. What's going to end up happening
Team Todd
here,
till the day I die.
What's going to end up happening here, Sandy, is there's going to be Team Sandy. You're going to have your list of clients, and then I'll have my list of clients. Yours will all succeed. Mine will be the ABC fall lineup from 1978. Okay. I'll be out there saying, we're still the one, and we got nothing. And if you get that reference, I love you. If you don't get that reference, I don't give a shit. We're going to bring Ernie Anderson back from the dead, and he's going to do all the voice work for the podcast.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
I'm just saying. You'll be like must-see TV on NBC, and we're going to be sitting there with Love Boat and Fantasy Island on Saturday night, okay? That's about it.
But
does anybody get that reference? My God, it's the best fucking reference in the world.
I get it.
Yes.
I was there. I know.
I was looking for some comments from anybody who,
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed nobody understood that because it's fucking epic.
It just goes to prove, my love, that you and I
I
are
know.
a little bit old.
Well, so Sandy, I mean, she's the
I am
youngest of the group,
old. I
but
am
not by
old.
much.
Todd,
She's-
you're almost exactly 1 year older than me.
Yep. And how old are you, Lisa, now?
A lady never tells her age.
That's true, but what about you?
I'm 55. I'll be 56
There
my
we
next
go.
birthday.
So there you go.
I think.
That's why we're talking about the 1978 ABC fall lineup.
Yeah. I'll be 56 my next birthday. I actually had to count. Oh, God.
Oh, dear.
It's been a long week for all of us.
Yeah, it's
I'm
certainly has.
55. Do you know what that means?
You can't
I'm-
drive?
No.
Okay, she gets a point for that,
I
Lisa.
got a point for that one, Lise.
I was just going to say, I am the same age that I believe Rose Nyland was supposed to be when they started Golden Girls.
Really, 55?
It was either 55 or 52. It's one of those.
Really?
Two.
That's crazy. They seem so much older than,
I know.
55 today, right?
I know.
Yeah. 55 today. It's 55 is the new 30.
That's right.
I'll tell you what, my fucking body doesn't think so.
I know, you poor baby.
Well, nobody's 55-year-old body feels like a 30-year-old body.
No.
That's bullshit.
Can't tell you how many times I say to Dave, oh, my back hurts.
Is
And
that
I
to get
go,
out of sex?
Yes, but Auntie Lisa's life lessons.
If you want to get out of sex, just say your back
Back
hurts.
hurts.
You know what you should do are quickies. So like little quick Auntie Lisa's life lessons where it's like 30
Oh, I
seconds
didn't
or
know where
less
he
or
was going with that.
60 seconds or less, where it's a really quick one each day of the week and you do it with video.
Okay.
Oh, that's
yeah,
cute.
right?
That's really cute.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
Auntie Lisa's life lesson number 4. Boom. And then that's it. It's done.
Yeah, that's good.
And
Eat your vegetables.
eat your vegetables. It's good for your colon.
Yeah.
And then show a picture of a really nasty colon to prove your point.
or mention the fact that, you know.
You have IBS, so you know.
Yes. Todd, you're not supposed to tell all my secrets.
Oh my God. So she went out and had a salad one day at work and she came back and literally 30 minutes after she went to the bathroom, somebody walked in and said, "Who the hell shit all over the wall?"
Oh my
Screamed it out loud.
I can't eat salad.
I
Yes, you
haven't
can,
laughed
so.
this hard in a long time.
What is it about being 55? You can't drive?
Yeah.
I hope somebody's having fun on here because we're laughing away and it's like crickets out there right now.
Bless their hearts. They're going, what did I tune in for this week? This is completely different. Holy crap. Who is this woman? That's what they're saying.
What are you looking at?
Except Vicky knows who this woman is.
Yeah. This is a little calendar that I got for Christmas. It is a Mr. Rogers calendar.
Oh, I love that.
So every day is a different saying. And I was just trying to see what this one said. And it said, what we must realize is that we do not outgrow this need to receive. Receiving times are for everybody. And so are giving times. So basically, to kind of wrap that up, we're all worthy of receiving love and attention and all that kind of stuff. We just have to realize that we're worthy of it.
That's right. Very true. Mr. Rogers, he was great.
I just want to come over there and hug him, but you know what would happen if I did?
My vagina, my boobs.
Stop touching me.
All right. So congratulations, Lisa. We're excited about working with you.
We are.
It's going to be great. It is. It's going to be great.
We got
Welcome
a couple more that we're working with and can't wait to kind of open the door on those. And it'll be a nice little group of folks. Maybe one day it'll be a huge group of folks and all just helping each other out and making lots of money.
Well, you know, it's true. If a lot of people don't start a podcast because they think they're not interesting enough or they don't have enough to talk about or enough to say. But the truth is that if you're passionate about something, you have something to say. Regardless of what that is that you're passionate about, you have something to say. And I guarantee you that if you're passionate about something, there are people out there who are going to be interested and listen. So that was very good. That was very good.
You know, I find it so attractive when you vouch like that.
I saw Lisa laughing, and I apologize because she brings out the worst in me. We start getting playful.
I was waiting for it at some point.
She was laughing about. What were you laughing about while she was talking about having something to say?
But being passionate about?
Yeah.
I was thinking about the things I'm passionate about, like vodka and wine.
Let me tell you, I have done I have edited and produced hundreds of podcasts, and there is a podcast for everyone. Let me tell you. There's some stuff out there that's really wild, but you know.
There have been a couple of Auntie Lisa's life lessons where I've been drinking while I've been doing this, so you never know.
So the question is, we've had you on our podcast a few times. Are you ever going to have us on yours?
Yeah, I'll figure that out.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Maybe I'll teach Todd how to do laundry.
Oh, ooh.
I use the Tide Pods. I put them in first, and then I put the comforter in. Okay.
A comforter?
Yes.
A comforter.
Yeah.
You washed a comforter in a standard washing machine.
Yes, I did.
You realized that you overloaded your washing machine when you did that.
My weasel.
It's going to be fun editing this for this week's episode. Oh, sigh.
It's a small comforter. It wasn't. Yeah, trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
He's like, it was a small one, Leaves. Don't worry.
You don't have a commercial sized drum. We have a commercial size. You do not.
That's funny.
Oh gosh, I can't.
There should always. Oh, I'm not going to get into it because I really.
That pretty much sums it up right there. We all need help.
I wonder who that is, too.
Depends on the washing machine. Here comes all the people with their ideas on washing. You opened up a can of worms, Lisa.
I will. That is one of Auntie Lisa's life lessons. I swear to goodness, I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to show y'all how to do laundry because everybody overfills the darn washing machine. It's not supposed to be filled to the top. You're supposed to leave this much space between the top and the top of your clothes.
Settle down. Grace, she's going to have a stroke on the podcast over somebody's laundry.
You know how you said passionate about things? I'm passionate about laundry.
She's over here doing shadow puppets and shit, you know?
Live long and prosper. Okay.
One of the other reasons we wanted to have Lisa on this week is because I don't know how I end up with it, but I've got two good friends who both obsess over serial killers. One a little bit more than the other. Lisa's a little bit crazier than Sandy, but the crazy, I mean, if they were in a race, It'd be right at the finish. It would be So I want to kind of dig into that. What is it about? Because I look at a serial killer and the only thing that I look at always is what may have happened in the past, that blah, blah, blah. Why are they like this? Sandy, I know you're kind of like that, but also like the paranormal side of it. Has something affected them that now is controlling them more than we could possibly understand? That's the only way that I get kind of interested in it. So where is it for you guys?
Well, for me, the interest in serial killers started when I was younger, because there was a girl that was in my town who came up missing. Her car was found. She was not. And I knew her. And, we all wondered what happened to her. Then she was one of them that Henry Lee Lucas said that he killed. Now, Henry Lee Lucas claimed to have killed some 300 people. The only one they could really prove he killed was his mother. Right. His partner in crime and in life and in love, even though he wouldn't admit it, was Otis Toole. And Otis Toole did kill a few people. But together, they did not kill the 300 some odd people that they take credit for.
Right.
And I got interested in this because he started confessing to all these murders, and the police department was treating him like some sort of celebrity,
like royalty almost, right?
Almost, yes.
Yeah.
Just to keep him talking. Keep him talking, because they thought they were solving the crimes. What they were doing was feeding an ego that was going, hey, I'm getting the attention I never got from anybody because I'm just a poor, ugly boy. I'm finally getting attention. I'm going to milk it for all it's got.
And that lasted quite a while, didn't it, Lisa? I think I saw the documentary about it, and it was really interesting. And it lasted quite a while because he just kept giving them names.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer he kept going, the more he got. I remember seeing them bringing him in coffee and lunch and whatever he wanted. And he barely spent any time in a jail cell because he was with them all the time. Mm-hmm. And they were patting him on the back and good old boys.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It was awful.
And, he was not a good person by any means. Right. I'm not saying that he was an angel. He did kill his mother. I'm saying that the crime spree he and Otis Toole went on was not as widespread as they wanted us to believe.
So you were interested mainly because of the way your first interest was because of the way that he was treated during
my first interest was because he took credit for killing this girl.
Right. Did they ever find out who did kill the girl?
They did. And for the life of me right now, I cannot. It's killing me that I can't bring that up to my memory right like that. But they did. After they discounted his testimony for it, they were able to do a little bit more. Because at first, it was like, oh, this is solved.
Right.
Kathy's death solved. We're done. But but they did finally get somebody for that.
So Sandy, what about you? Like, what was it? Was it an episode like that where you knew somebody? Was it something that was prominent in your neck of the woods? What was it for you?
No, I really think that a lot of it has to do with, for me personally, I know it's not for everybody, but for me being like a really deep empath, a lot of empaths tend to become counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, and they're very interested in knowing the why behind things or getting to the core of things and why they happen. And ever since I was little, I have watched and had this very strong interest in serial killers. I mean, all of them. We had Arthur Shawcross, who was a well-known serial killer, was from Rochester and Buffalo, right in between Rochester. that's literally 2 hours from me. And so he was one of the first ones that I really dug into and kind of learned about. And now for me, who works at home and I literally make up my own hours, I have all this time that I can sit without Dave being home, and I can watch all of these Discovery Plus and Netflix and Amazon Prime shows about, what do I watch? All about the serial killers, the Green River Killer, everybody.
At some point, Lisa and we're going to have to make a trip, and there's going to have to be an intervention. We'll sit her down in the corner,
because those shows that you're watching gloss over so much of it.
I know, it's true.
I mean, it's so much of the psychology is just glossed right over.
I agree.
It doesn't delve deep into it. That's why I started getting. I took an interest more in women who kill than male serial killers, because male serial killers are a dime a dozen, but the women who kill are more rare. Yes. So I would start looking into that. And of course, the angels of death, the angels of mercy, the black widows, etc., the baby killers. Oh my God, the women who were baby killers. Yeah. Main motive for women killing is money.
What is it for guys? Do you know?
Guys, it's probably hugely sexual.
Yeah.
Yeah. And control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I got in, and I wanted to find out.
But even if not in the killing process, isn't that the way it's split up in the world? Guys are always about sex. Women are about money. I mean, when you really knock it down,
well, they take it to the extreme.
Well, if you're gonna dumb down what life is like for men and women, that dumbs it down to almost a perfect equation. Guys are about sex. Women care more about money.
Not necessarily money, but security.
Yeah, she's right.
Okay, well, guys, it's still sex. So, I'm not going to make a fancy word for it.
But, just the way that a woman thinks and what would drive her to start killing children, or what would drive her to start getting husbands from the want ads, and then how do they keep from getting caught? Well, by moving around constantly, all that. So that's what got me into it. Eileen Wuornos was one that she had a tough upbringing, and I'm not excusing what she did by any means. I just know how it happened and what the snap was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting. And, on the women's side, one of the things that can go both ways, it doesn't have to necessarily be serial, but is the Munchausen by proxy syndrome, which is terrifying. Terrifying. And it's also interesting to hear those stories, because you wonder.
Those hurt me more than any others.
Yes.
For those, Lisa, this would be a great example of a time when you could go, for those of you who don't know what X, Y, and Z is, I'll tell you.
Okay, for those of you who don't know what Munchausen is. I was letting you do it. Munchausen is when you yourself will do things to your body to make you sick or injured to get attention. Munchausen by proxy is where you will do those things and eventually even up to killing your children or somebody in your care to get that attention. Oh, look at poor Lisa. She's taking care of this child who is this, and this. Yeah. That's Munchausen by proxy. So, and that always always bothers me because, and I can't go into why it bothers me so much, because, but it does. It's one of those things. There, I know somebody who would definitely fit that, and it's frustrating. Yeah. What are you looking at, grinning at me like that for?
I wonder who she's talking about.
I wonder who.
It's weird sitting here. I sometimes on these conversations, I'm the outsider. because I'm simpleton here. Okay.
You're not a simpleton.
Listen,
You're so smart.
Can I talk, Lisa? So if you guys were talking about game show sets and the color of the shag carpeting and how many bells and whistles there were and the different ways that they told a difference between a form of the word or an unusable word and password, I could, we could discuss that all week long.
Yeah.
And we could talk about Alan Ludden's different glasses that he wore over the years. But when we start talking about serial killers and stuff, I'm sitting here going, what the fuck? I mean, I can't imagine spending any of my time in a day getting into this stuff because I would freak out. I had a dream last night where I was in a situation where I witnessed something happen that was against the law.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I had to keep my mouth shut about it because the person knew that I knew what had taken place.
Right. Snitches get stitches.
Snitches get stitches, which is something. And the reason why that's funny is for whatever reason, I shot that GIF to Lisa this week like 5 or 6 times just for the hell of it. And so we kept doing it back and forth. Snitches get stitches. But for whatever reason, it's the classic. I won't say anything, I'm not going to tell anybody. Well, this person was coming after me then and I was being chased and they were looking to kill me last night in my dream. So, I mean, you start talking about these things and then I'm having dreams like that. And it's like, I could never sit and read a book about Wisconsin serial killers and read profiles on each of them. I could not do that. Is it interesting to me? A little bit. Yeah. But I don't know how close I want to be to something like that as far as knowledge is concerned. You guys are just going back and forth and it's like, holy crap. They've like really dived into this shit,
If I can get a journalist who has really researched and written a book about it, there have been several books written about the Green River Killer, and the Son of Salem and stuff. But if I can get a true journalistic, and I'm not talking about modern journalists, I'm talking about one who goes into the research and the wherefores and the whys and court testimony and documents, and they put together a book and I can get all the whatnot. I want to get all the whatnot.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just something that is very interesting. There's podcasts out there that concentrate solely on telling the stories of serial killers.
There are.
I've listened to
some of them are my favorites.
Yeah.
But then again, I do have to admit that it's not just for me real life serial killers. I also like the fictional serial killers and stuff. There's something about that I find freeing. Okay, so here. That's
Sandy. That's where her psychosis is different because, like, when she's sitting, she told this story off the air. But when she's in my kitchen and there's a roast that's been cooked, and she can't wait to stab at, and she says she just loves the feel of basically cutting flesh,
a knife going into flesh.
Yeah, I mean. You don't sleep for a week after somebody makes that comment that's living in your upstairs. But I mean, seriously, like is it the power? What is it, Lisa? You in like another world, would you be a serial killer?
I think so. And I know that sounds really, there's a part of me that is very, very dark and has those tensions. I'm not going to say urges because I don't have a dark passenger that's sitting there with me, nods to Jeff Lindsay and Dexter, that's sitting there telling me to kill. No, but there are times when I get really tense and stressed out and I will look at Dave and I will say, there will be murder tonight, which means we have to watch something with some murder so that I
can release.
Yeah. I've written... I'm not a very good novelist, but I've got 100 novels that I've written, and almost every one of them, I'm murdering exes as I'm
like therapy.
It is like therapy. I have to tell you, I have friends who are cops. I have friends who are, detectives and who are journalists and who would, immediately, if they found out certain things were happening, would be going, has anybody talked to Lisa? Because I was talking to one police officer once about something. I used to be a journalist, so I was always interviewing people. And I had a mic stand, not unlike this one, only it had a very straight thing, but it had this real heavy bass. And I was looking at it and I said,
you just unplugged your mic in your
hold on.
I was going to say, this is a podcast with audio, so using the microphone as a prop is probably not necessarily the best thing to do. We'll leave that in, by the way. No, you're gone. We don't have you. You're missing. Your audio is gone. No.
We lost her. She looks like me, Todd.
You look like you're muted or something. Are you muted?
No, that's what it was. It muted.
There we go.
Okay, so anyway.
Hold on. Lisa, look at Sandy. Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
Look at Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
It's like looking in a mirror. Okay.
So I have this big, huge, heavy, filled with lead mic stand, right? And I pick it up and I'm looking at the bottom of it. And I'm just looking, I'm waiting for the guy to come in so I can interview him about something. I'm looking at the bottom of it and he comes in, he looks at me, he goes, why are you staring at the bottom of your mic? I said, do you know how hard it would be to match this as a murder weapon? You would never even think of this. And he goes, well, I will now.
She lived with me for several years, and pretty much in all those years, the reason why I look as old as I do, why there's all that gray hair, in all those years, there wasn't one night of full sleep. Because every creak and movement I knew it was her with a mic stand in her hand.
Though, in all seriousness, I don't think it makes anybody off to be interested in this. I think it's just a natural human kind of inclination to want to find out stuff like this. I do. And Lisa, you made a really good point too. A lot of those shows kind of gloss over everything. And real quick, I want to talk about my favorite serial killer.
I was just going to say, yeah, I want to know.
Ed Gein for you.
And it's very difficult to find anything, unless you go on YouTube and stuff. There's nothing on TV that really digs into, no pun intended, the whole story. And so I read this book, or I listened to this book on Audible called Deviant. Mm-hmm. And it was the story, and it was amazing. I listened to it every night. I would fall asleep listening to it because it was so interesting. It was like 14 hours. And it was just so good. And it really I would recommend, if anybody really wants to learn, read some of these books, because these books really get in depth and give you a lot of background. I mean, this book took us back to Ed Gein as a child, mm-hmm. and the circumstances that surrounded him and mm-hmm. his family and his life and what happened to him. And Todd, you brought up a good point about the supernatural. And that was one of the big conversations we had in the 2-hour drive back to Oshkosh after we visited Plainfield, was, is there something paranormal, something not of this world that either affected Ed or affected his mother, Augusta? And I truthfully can't rule that out, at least to some degree, because we all know what happened when we were in the cemetery, and I'd never experienced anything like that. And I do believe that there was something, and that's a great question to ask about any serial killer. Is there more that we just don't understand? Is it not just psychological in the true sense of the word, but is there more to it than we even understand? Because we've all seen evil, but to what degree can evil infiltrate a person or their psyche?
And also, when you think of partner murderers, what is it that draws these two people together to commit these crimes together? One of my favorite, I don't have a favorite serial killer per se, but I mean, one of them that I liked looking into they are called in many different places the Lethal Lovers. It's Gwendolyn Graham and Kathy Wood. They were in Michigan and they worked at a nursing home, and together they killed 5 or 6 people. And they both went to prison. Kathy Wood is now out. But what brought them together? What was the psychological turn of the screw that got this one manipulative person to get this other person to do these terrible things? And who was truly the evil one? Is it the one who was doing the things or the one who made the things happen?
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Well,
and manipulation. Manipulation.
Yeah. Or is it just two people who have this? Is it the luck of the draw that two people have this underlying identity, and they just happen to run into one another working at a nursing home? Is it possible that they both had these urges, had these thoughts, whatever, and they just happened to meet one another? How much does love and passion play into that? And again, I still ask the question, what about paranormal? What if one of them had something, some sort of possession or something going on, or something was going on at the nursing home and they just happen to be, open to that? I mean, I know you could look at it and go, well, that's so far-fetched, Todd, blah, blah, blah. But what scares me about this is when it comes to illnesses and psychoses and all that kind of stuff, you look back 50, 60 years, how they treated people who had mental illness was pretty rough. And so we've learned a lot since then, but we haven't learned everything since then. There might be this other piece that we just don't know about yet. So I always worry about that. Like, my biggest fear in life is I go nuts or I go crazy, or you kill somebody and it's really not you that went nuts or crazy. It's this thing that attached itself to you and it's making you do these things. And you've seen movies like that and storylines and all. That is like a really, really fucking scary existence to me.
Well, one of the things about Geen was that he said that he would black out.
Right.
He said he told them he would black out. And was it just his psychosis or was it something else? We'll never know. And there really isn't a way to know, because the general consensus, especially obviously in the medical world, is it's psychosis. It's not something evil attaching itself to you. But do we know for sure? We've had instances where people have killed people and, they said that it turned out that they did have an attachment or they did have something going on. So we just don't know. But it's absolutely a viable theory that something could be going on. And that's why in the paranormal world, a lot of people say, well, prove to me there's a ghost. Well, prove to me there's not. Prove to me that there's no such thing as a ghost, if you want me to prove to you that there is one. So we don't know.
I don't know if you can see these or if that light is too bright.
I can see.
Do you see those earrings? These are now my favorite pair of earrings because they look like blood spatter.
They do. They do. It's
oh my God.
I call these my Dexter earrings.
Where have I gone wrong in life? Splatter. Why do I end up with people like you? Why can't I meet a nice couple and just,
We make podcasting easy. Mindgarden Media can get you going on your very own podcast. With many years in the broadcast and audio industry, Mindgarden Media can edit, fully produce, and provide all the web distribution services. We're podcasters too, so we'll guide you every step of the way to a professional sounding podcast production. For information, email the Mindgarden Media at gmail.com. The Mindgarden Media at gmail.com. Or check us out on Facebook.
This is the Sandy and Toddcast.
There's something about her laugh, too, which is really, really infectious. So she's got that witch laugh.
Look, I'm laughing at it.
And so when she starts doing the, it's very easy to lose yourself in laughter, too. I laughed very hard.
Lisa, it's so funny because obviously before you and I became friends, I didn't know anybody. And now I feel like people are like my family. And she is one of the kindest, most genuine people. And like all of us, she has her things too, her idiosyncrasies and her wackiness.
Just a few. Just a couple. Yep.
But she is truly one of the most genuine people. And she loves you so much. And it just, the friendship that we all have is really, really special and very important. So it's always fun.
One of the things that I was thinking about doing, and because both of us were so tired the other night, and we just wanted to get through the live cast, one of the things I was going to do was, match Todd Michael's game and make you guys try to match me and figure out which one of you is the better friend. And then afterward, you're like, oh, I'm so glad we didn't do that because I don't want to play that game.
I don't, because there shouldn't be a comparison.
Oh,
listen, we both love you very much. And I may not know what your favorite song is at any particular time in your life 20 years ago. And Lisa might, but it's two different friendships. And I don't want to compete with anybody. I think you guys have a very special bond, and you and I have one. So
absolutely. I just think it would be fun to put you guys up against one another.
You just want to cause trouble. You just want to cause trouble. Don't even look innocent.
That's
Don't
exactly
even try
right.
to look innocent. You want to cause trouble. So, but a big thank you to Lisa. And Lisa, again, joining our Mindgarden Media family, which is really cool and very special, too.
Very cool podcast that she has.
Yes, love it.
So looking forward to that at some point. And we've only got 3 more episodes left, and then we're done for the season and taking our little break. So looking forward to that as well.
Done for the season, but we will, of course, like we always do, have some bonus content in between seasons for everybody. Stuff that we haven't played before. And last fall, we were doing some after the live cast episodes where we'd stop our live cast and we'd keep it rolling afterwards.
Right.
And some funny, really funny stuff happened after that. And some really interesting stuff happened, too. So we'll be sharing things like that. We might have a Sandy Cemeteries. Lots of bonus content coming your way.
Sounds good. You want to do your little spiel for us this week?
Let me do it. Well, since the whole live cast the other night was based on our Mindgarden Media project, we are Mindgarden Media. We do podcast editing, producing, and consulting. So if anyone out there, if you guys are interested in starting a podcast and you just don't know how to do it and where to start, contact us. All of the information will be in the show notes. We will walk you through it from beginning to end, make you feel like a pro in no time. And we're very reasonably priced. I don't want to do this to bilk people or make people think they're being bilked out of their money. I don't want them to think the pricing is unfair. I want them to understand that my number one goal with this is to help you because I love podcasting. And I think it has a really important place today. And so I want everyone to enjoy it as much as I do. And so don't be afraid to try it. If you think you have something you want to talk about, well, talk to us and we'll work through it with you. Mindgarden Media is on Facebook. You can also contact us by emailing us at themindgardenmedia@gmail.com. And let's see, we have our Sandy and Toddcast Facebook page. We also have our group, Stay Weirdos, Friends of the Sandy and Toddcast. That thing's gotten a little crazy lately. It's a lot of fun. And it's just a safe space to share all your thoughts and feelings and opinions, whether they're supernatural or they're just kind of wacky and out there. Nobody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to make fun of you. And you can also check out, well, Todd and I have another side project, as if we're not busy enough, called the Empathicary Podcast. And that podcast is all about people who are empaths or who love empaths. And it's done by 2 empaths, Todd and I. And so you can check out that page on Facebook as well. And just find us anywhere that you find any of your podcasts.
We may have to hire somebody just to do the spiel every week because it's a lot for you to get through. There's so much going on.
I know. I still don't feel like I said everything I needed to say, but I'm not going to keep people for 3 hours on this episode.
Maybe we could have Dave do a disclaimer at the end and just list through everything and just put it on the podcast every week. And now here's Dave, right? And then he just lists everything, and then we don't have to do it.
He doesn't mind. Dave goes along with any of our cockamamie
You're so
ideas.
lucky. Poor Dave.
Poor Dave. I even say poor Dave sometimes. All right.
You should. All right. Well, until our next podcast, and again, only 3 left in the season, we're looking forward to it. We will say bye.
Bye.